Hello. Sorry. My face is a bit dark. I don't have power at home. Uh, Hopefully you see my face. If you don't worry. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to go about doing the final project. But of course, this is 7.5. 7.4, you're supposed to have been able to fill a database and then make a call to that database and get the content of that database. So once you do that, then you know you're good to go. If you don't get that part, then coming here will not work for you because you will use that data in 7.4 currently here. Okay, so let's walk through the final project, reading and revising an API. Okay, so this is an example of the database content that should be returned to us in 7.4. When you have that, you know you're good to go. Okay, so here we are told about client and server relationship. We have a server that will be serving up that data, and then we have a client that will make a request to that data and return whatever results that is required from the server. So first of all, let's access the client by clicking here. Okay, then we access the server that we're serving up data by clicking here. So my internet is a bit slow, so forgive me. So let's click here to go to the client. Both are saying client, so let me close this. That's something I noticed. You click on both of them at the same time, they go to the same GitHub repository rather than going to separate repository. One should actually be fertilizer catalog and your GitHub username, and this other one should be API access and then your GitHub username. Okay, so let's open both of them in CodeSpace. Let's click on that one. Let me open the catalog too in CodeSpace. You can actually do this on your system. Test it on your system, make sure it's working. That's how I usually do mine. But setting it up on your system takes a bit. So that's why we are asked to use CodeSpace where everything is set up for us to use. Okay, so let's give it a few minutes to set up. So you need to be careful when you open these two repositories in your browser. You need to remember which one is your server and which one is your client. The client will be making requests to the server, and the server will be responding with the required response to that particular request from the client. Okay, so sorry, my network is a bit slow. It is slow this evening. All right, so this is somewhat too slow for me. Maybe I'll refresh it and see what happens. Okay, let me refresh that, and then let me refresh this one. Okay, so while this is coming up, let's look through the code in the catalog. So if you look at the catalog repository, this is the catalog repository. Okay, this catalog repository serves up fertilizer, and then there's a video we should have watched. If you look at that video, let me go back here. There's this video here. Watch this video. This video actually shows you how to run this catalog repository catalog file and then make requests to that file and get results back. So what this project actually requires from you is for you to replicate this fertilizers catalog, and then also what two files do we need? We need several files. We need let's look at the project requirements. Let's go down. Let's go down. Let's go down. Let's go down. Let me go down. Okay, so no, this is actually all right. So we have several files we'll be creating. The first one here. Now look again. If you look at your tasks assignment, you see we have fertilizer editing.py. Let's go to the repository, fertilizer editing.py. That is it. So if you click into that, so we are going to replicate this one, and we will be calling ours for the project user editing.py. Okay, so we are going to create that file, and the work of that file will be similar to what the fertilizer underscore editing.py does. Let's look at this file. So if you watch that particular video, the video here, it tells us it uses that fertilizer program, runs that program, and shows you how that program operates, and then makes requests to that particular program using server client relationship to give you the results you expect. Remember, in that fertilizer demo, you change the price, but in this one, we'll be changing the authentication level for for a particular user using the same code that can be found in that fertilizer underscore editing. Okay, so this is fertilizer underscore editing. What this does, this is a Flask application. It has the root route, it has the revised route, and then it has this other route, access a row. What this does is to access a particular row, you pass in the information for that particular row you want to access. You tell it which table you want to access, which is fertilizers in this case, and then the brand name and what type. Okay, and then you pass in the parameters. Watch that video and you see where instructor uses this to actually show us what we're supposed to be doing. Then, of course, we have the update price function. What it does is when you pass a price, when it passes a price to this function, when it is called from within the revise route, this route has different URLs, different um, what they call it, URL arguments that are passed to it. In this case here, you have a brand and type. This other one, you have brand type and price. So when you pass a price to it, if you look down here, you will see where the you see where at this point where the update price function will be called. It is here. So you're going to just basically replicate this stuff on your end, provided you did the first part with 7.4, which is to create a file that creates a database and a table and then populates that database from your data. If you did that and you're successful, then this other part will call that database for you. Okay, so let me go over here to catalog. So we are up here to catalog. All right, so what do I do now? Okay, so let's open the editing. Okay, so open editing. Let me open the client. In fact, client.py. Okay. Client.py. I think there's a catalog. I think we're supposed to look at the catalog, make requests for editing. So like I said, my internet is a bit slow, so I'm going to you just have to be patient. Okay, so let me look for that editing. Let me see the URLs we'll be passing to that editing to actually get what we expected to get. Let me go there. Okay, let me go to 7.4 and check out some stuff there. Okay, so just one more. Okay, so the editing is up. All right. This isn't up yet. And the client will be calling the catalog file, and we're making some calls to it. But let me come here. This is catalog. Let me go. So, okay, 7.4. Okay. Okay, so let me go forward. Let me go back there. All right, so we have the fertilizer editing. So you're going to create your own version of this file. Okay, you're going to create your own version of this file. Let me um, walk you through. Let me create an empty file. Uh, let me create an empty file. Let me just do demo.py. Okay, demo.py. Okay, so it does that. Let me put this to the side so that they are together side by side. Okay, so let me take this one in a bit. All right. All right, so let's go back to the instructions. In this final project, you will create a Python code including routing information that will allow you to enter a URL containing certain embedded parameters that will allow you to either read all the information associated with a particular user or alter the authorization level of a particular user and show through return JSON that the authorization level has indeed been changed. So we are supposed to watch this video here that demonstrates an analogous application. The Python program forming the basis of the app can be found in this place. So like I said, this is the basis for your project. It's already written for you. All you do is look through it, copy the code, and modify it to suit you. Okay, so let's look at the task. Using the users table created in assignment 7.4 as the backend database supporting the API, create a Flask app with only two routes, index route and a revised route. So we have only two routes. Let's look at this. So we have index. This is the index route and then revised route. So let's quickly copy. You can just copy this across there. Then create a Flask object name. Okay. So we create the first route, which is index route, which is home. So we'll call it home. Let's do pass. Let's put that there. Now at the top, you do this. This will tell Flask when you call this the home route of this application, it should call this function home. So the second function there, similar to what you have on the left, is the edit request. Okay, so let me just name it particularly the same. So you can call it what you want, it's up to you. Okay, but I chose to use exactly what we've been given so that it makes it easy for me to uh, understand. So we have created the two routes to represent these two routes here. The first route is, let's see what the assignment says. Okay, so the first route reveals a generic, the root route will reveal a generic greeting, welcome to the client, welcoming the client to the user's database. The revised route will accept parameters that will either retrieve a particular user or alter his or her authorization level, much like the fertilizer underscore editing.py program. So please, before you run this, before you do this, watch this video. Okay, it will help you to know exactly what you're supposed to do. Okay, so your program call it user underscore editing. So you create this file. Okay, I have mine here already at the bottom. There it is. Create this file. This file will either retrieve a JSON object of a particular user specified by a username or alter the authorization level of a particular user if the parameters include the username and a new authorization level. So the second one will be searching for two things. If there's a username and an authorization level, then it knows it needs to alter that authorization level. Other than that, it will simply return data for the user that you passed in the username. Okay, so it should be modeled after fertilizer editing.py program. Okay, so example output. Let's begin. Okay, so when you open up a browser, you are at root level. Your greeting should appear as this. So this is what should be seen by your user. Let's go over here. So let's make that happen here. This is the root path for our program. So let's just do exactly what they have done here. Bring this one in and then go back up here and start. So we have span, no span style, text, align, center, and then we close that. Go over to the bottom, and then we have H1. Let's see what we are supposed to have there. H1 says user database management. So let me just copy this, come back here and then paste that. Now close that H1. Now go to the bottom. This is H3, open, and then copy this part. Okay, if you look carefully, it's similar to the one on the left. No difference. That's the way it is, similar to the one on the left. So paste that in here and then close that. Okay, when you close that, you need to close the span too. So the span, this is how you close it. Okay. All right, so we close that and we're good to go. So if we want to test this, let's quickly test this. So to test this, click on the run button here. Okay, it says create a virtual environment. I usually click on this and then I choose the first one. I choose this Python version, and then there's a requirements file for virtual environments used to supply the requirements of that particular environment. Okay, so okay, so let's go to the ports. Nothing is happening. Perhaps my network is the issue. I'm supposed to see something here, but I'm not seeing anything. Okay, so let me click in here and then click there. Okay. Why is it not running? Why is it not running? Why is it? Okay, so let's go down here. We have the main entry point if name is equal to main. Okay, you have app run and debug true. All right, so let's run that again. Okay, now it runs. So we're here. Of course, we come here and right click in here and say port visibility, make it public. It comes back, it becomes public. You go back to the terminal. You can press Control and click on this to open it in a browser. We will do that now. Okay, so you click continue. URL not found. Okay, so we're doing something wrong. Let's go back up. Let's be sure we're doing the right thing. URL not found. Home return. Why is the URL not found? Let me come. It's public. This get not found. Why is that? Oh, sorry. I didn't put the @ here. Let me put that one. Let me go down. Okay, it's here. So we can now refresh this. Okay, so that's it. So that's the first part. This is the root. Okay, so we come back here. We got the root working. We can stop the code from running by doing pressing Ctrl+C on our keyboard when we click into this window here. Okay, if you click into this window and then you do Ctrl+C, it stops the program from running. So let's now do the second part. Okay, so the second part says we have a revise point. Now let's look, we're going to pick, if you look at the code on the left, it picks up various requests arguments. You have brand, type, price. So in our own case, we'll be picking up username, what again? Username and the auth level. Let's look at the assignment and see what is expected. So, and then, okay, so when you do revise, you don't have a domain name, you don't have a username, it should return this. Okay, if you add a username, which is this, it should return this. Now, one other thing you need to take note of when you open the new fertilizer catalog hyphen your GitHub username repository, you won't have this file here, people dot what they call it, what is that file, people.db. So you have to actually run that file. You have to actually run redo what you did previously in 7.4. Okay, create and let me show create people. You have to run this code, create people, and then fill users. So you have to come here, create a new file called createpeople.py. You did that previously in 7.4. Copy the code from there, put it here, create insert users.py like you did in 7.4, project 7.4. Copy the code from that location from your system, put it here, run those files again. How do you run them? Just open the file in the editor and then click on this triangle here. If you don't see the triangle, please refresh your page. That means it's a network issue. You need to see this triangle. So when you do that, it will create this file. Remember, you will need this file to make this editing code successful. So when you do that, this particular database file will appear. Okay, so you need to do that. It's not present here in this particular repository. You have to create those files again like you did in 7.4, run those files again and get this database created and populated with data. Okay, so let's grasp, let's capture the parameters that we need. Let's do the first one, username. Username, did I spell that wrong? Username. Username, we have requests dot args dot get, and then you have username. Okay, then what's the next thing we get is auth level. I called mine level. I'll show you this. There are some differences I see, so you need to be very careful. So auth, in this case, it will call auth. You would have expected me to write level or something, but let's go back to this and check this out. If you look here, it says, in other words, object containing a user ID, username, and auth. Okay, not that one. Okay, look at the URL here that we are supposed to work with. You can see that the last parameter there is AUTH, auth, not level. So you have to, that's what we're capturing. So the naming, the variable you created here could be named the same with this auth if you like. Okay, if you want to, it doesn't matter. Okay, so we are not doing price like they did here. These are quite different. We are capturing username and level. Those are the things we're interested in. Now, let's see the first one. Said we are going to try to get this output, this particular one. Okay, so if you come back here, you do this. Let's do if not username. The braces is not required. You can leave that out. This is Python. It's not required. Return JSONify. It says, let's look at the error message. The error message has to be exactly this. So let's copy this one out here. Okay, no, I think I memorized that. Error, please provide a username. So let's come back here. The first one is error. Okay. Please provide a username. Full stop. All right. So let me run this code and show you something. All right. Okay. So let's run this code once more. Let's check to see that it's public. It's private. I can click here to make it public, or you do as I did before, clicking here and setting the visibility to public, whichever one. Okay, so that's public, so we are good to go. Let's go back to our terminal. Let's refresh this. It still gives us this. Now, if you put in revise, revise, I did enter. Now that's the error message. Please provide a username. So that is what we expect to see here, exactly as it is. Okay, so let's stop the code running and continue, and then we will finish up that one. So we got the first one working. If the username is absent, that is what not means. If the username is absent, return this. But if it is not, else, if type in this case, in this one, we don't have a type. If the price is not there, then return the username, make a call to the user, what's the name of the database? Supplies, no, people database. People database. Make a request, sorry, make make a request to people's database. I'm not sure if that is called people or peoples. Let me be sure of that. I think I made a mistake there. I'll check that out later. I hope I remember to do that. Okay, so if we're not doing price, okay, we're not doing um there are three things we are supposed to work with here. We have username. You have, let me look at the data return here. You have username, you have the password. So we're not working with the password. Okay, so in our code, we don't need to bother about type here will be analogous to password. So we're not doing that. So what we're interested in is this one, this last one here. Okay, so in our own case, this is how it's going to be. Else if I don't want to put that, not auth. Okay, if not auth, then we do user yeah, so user, we have access row, and then we pass in username. Okay, and then if user, then return sorry about that, return just identify user. Else what do we return? We haven't created the access row function. We'll do that in a moment. So else we say return just signify that, and we have that, we have user not found. Let's see the error message if we can get that. Okay, it's not, so we just copy that. Okay, so user not found. In this time we're doing user, and then we do this, and then username. All right, and then we send the response status code, which is 400. Okay, so we have this. Now we've created this. Let's go down. Let's look more at. Okay, so the next thing we do is for this other if block, the outer if block. This is the inner if block. The outer if block, which is this one, we need to put an else clause. So because this else clause will actually do the changing of the values for the levels. In this case, the price was changed, but in our own case, we'll be changing the level. So let's do again here. We do user access row, username, that's all we need for that one. We come down, we do if user is okay, level, you can use auth there if you want. Int, change that to int. Auth, change that to int. Remember, okay, let's go back to int. Let's see what the auth was stored as in our former database. Let's go back to okay, so we don't need to do this. Sorry, we don't need to come back here. Let me go forward. Let me show you something. If you click on people, it comes out here. This is not supported. Okay, so what we do is there's a particular SQLite viewer. There's a particular what do you call it, extension that we're supposed to install to make it possible for us to view that particular database. So I want to show you the type for what do you call it, the type for the level or auth in the database, so that you know why we had to make it int. Remember, when you receive data from the URL, it's in strings, so you need to switch it to int. If not, you have issues. Okay, so One moment. If it doesn't work, I simply right click and say open with, and I choose this one. Let's see what happens. Okay, so that's it. Let me bring this down. Now, if you look at, let's click here. You see that level, this is a string ABC text integer. That's why we had to make it that. Okay, so you have to make this an integer, and then let's go back to writing our code. So we have this here. Then say update price. So in our own case, we'll call our own update level. Call it what you want, but something descriptive enough. Sorry, it makes a call. So we're taking user name, and then we're taking auth. Okay, so when we come down here, the next thing we'll make another call, user access. Remember, we've not created these functions. We'll do that in a bit. So row, and then we have username. Then we return JSONify, and we return user. Then we have an else statement to end cap of that if block. Return that if it doesn't work out, we can't find the user, we'll simply do user not found, and then we have the username, and then we give them the what is it called, status code, which is 400. Okay, so we are done. Okay, so we need to create two functions, access row and update level. So let's come down here. We do access row. So when you do this, you see that, and then the next function we have is update level. Okay, sorry, that wrong. Okay, so once you do that, you see the wiggly lines below this is gone. That's because we now have it here. And if you look at the, okay, if I were to do this in GitHub, you would see this this function defined the symbols as one of the symbols for our code. Okay, so auth isn't this complaining any. Why is it complaining? It's not defined. Auth should be defined. So okay, no, this is level. Okay, because we are calling this variable here level. So okay, this is level 2. You see, that's why naming it, having similar names makes it easy for you. Okay, so I called mine level anyway. You can call yours auth if it's confusing. So we are good to go. The only thing left is for us to implement the access role and the rest. So let's look at access role. See it? It's simple. You just look at it here. So let's create a connection first of all. SQLite 3 connection people not just okay, I think people DB. All right, DB, that's the connection. Then you create a cursor object, connect cursor, and then after that we have our cursor execute. Our cursor executes. Okay, so what are we doing? We're doing select all from, what table are we working with? The table is users, I believe. Okay, where username is equal to passing a parameter. We are not using any other thing, and then we pass in this a username and then That's good to go. Is it complaining about the username? Why is it complaining? Say username isn't defined. It should be defined. Did we not define that? Let me see. Oh, sorry. Row takes in username, so we need to give it this parameter. Okay, it takes one argument, which is the username, has a parameter which is username. That's the one when you pass it in from here, as you see us do it here. Okay, so let's complete that. Then, okay, so user cursor fetch one. Okay, so get one if user is right, return user, else return false. Okay, so we've implemented this first one. Okay, we've implemented the first one. Let's see how we return the user with the name Washington. So let's run this code once more. Okay, so let's check to see we are public. If we are not, we make it public. Okay, so make it public. I'm almost out of power. I hope it doesn't end this way. Okay, so let's go here. Let's refresh. Revise, of course, it still gives us the same thing. Okay, so username isn't there. So let's do, let me go back here. Let me go down here. Remember that your output must be in this fashion. If it's not, then you're not getting it. Make sure your output is in this fashion. Now let's do the one for the username, George Washington. Let's pick that request parameter. Let's put it here. I put it there and I do that. Okay, so that's George. You see, we get that George is out. But if you look carefully, it's very different from this. This is actually like is a Python, a JSON object. Of course, a Python with key and values. The values are here, but the keys are not there. It's left for you to make that happen. So I hope this slide demo was enough for you to get an idea of what you're supposed to do. I implemented the access row function. I'll leave the update level to you to do that. And then, like I said, the output here is not complete. The keys are missing, just the values are here. We require the keys and we need it to be returned as a JSON object, not as a list. Here we actually have a list of items. We don't want that. So I leave that up to you to be able to sort that out. I believe you'll be able to do that. But if you have any questions, just post them in the group and I should give you hints to that. So once you do that, you can close this, I can just come clicking here, Control C, stops running. So that's good to go. So I'm going to remove this file. I don't know why I should keep the file. It doesn't need me to keep it. Well, it's my private repository. I can always keep it. All right. So I'm out of power. So let me quickly shut this down.